We're talking more dealers today on Drilling Deeper. Specifically, we're going to be talking about custom fabricating equipment with Goodfellow Corporation. Welcome back into episode 19 of Pit & Quarry's Drilling Deeper. I'm Kevin Yanik, editor-in-chief of the magazine, and once again, we've got with us managing editor Jack Kopanski. Jack, how are you today?
That's who I am. Kevin, I'm thrilled to be here. How are you doing?
Doing well. 19 episodes in. Man. Well, not quite. Got the start of this one off and running at least.
For now. We'll see.
We'll see where this goes.
A lot of episode left. It's like they say in sports, a lot of game left. We got a lot of episode left here.
Yeah, it's the first quarter. We barely got the ball in the air, you know?
Thank you to our show sponsor, TCI Manufacturing. Celebrating 25 years of excellence in 2025, TCI Manufacturing embodies the promise of concepts to reality as the industry's leading aggregate resource. TCI specializes in precision-engineered, custom-fabricated steel products committed to delivering top quality, strength, and precision in every project. Learn more at tcimfg.com. Thank you also to the sponsor of this episode, Syntron. With more than 140 years of bulk material handling experience, Syntron Material Handling is a recognized industry leader that provides innovative engineering solutions, high-performance products, and superior customer service. Syntron offers solutions in conveying, feeding, screening, elevating, vibratory flow aids, and mining controls of bulk product. For more information, visit syntronmh.com.
We're going to talk about equipment dealers again. We did that in episode 18 as we had Kimball Equipment CEO Kirk Rainbow with us. Appreciated him joining us. And today we've got another dealer interview on tap, another West Coast dealer, that being Goodfellow Corporation. And we had their Vice President of Sales, Chris Barron, join me for an interview that we're using in a variety of ways. If you got your July edition of Pit & Quarry, perhaps you read the article featuring Chris Barron talking about custom fabricating equipment, and it's kind of a specialty for Goodfellow out there in the West, as they kind of cover 4 states: Nevada, California, Utah, and Arizona. And you know, we've engaged Goodfellow a good bit before. You know, a lot of good people out there in the West. And as I was planning our July coverage this year, Jack, I was kind of thinking, as I do every year, like, what are the things, the trends that we want to kind of pick up on and put out there to our readers? And one thing was this idea of custom fabrication equipment. Where dealers are doing some specialty work to conform equipment, whether it's tracked equipment or something with a screen, conveyors for the end user, because we see that every producer out there, just about, they have very particular needs and wants with how they want equipment to be designed and engineered. So, Goodfellow's kind of taken that to the ultimate degree in the things that they're doing in their partnership with Astec Industries out in the West. But as you again heard on episode 18, we talked about this whole idea of the mega dealer. Dealers, in some cases, are getting rather large in size, and we did talk a little bit about that concept with Chris Barron at Goodfellow Corporation. And for context, the interview I did with him, it must have been midway or late into June. We started out talking about dealers and what's happening with them in terms of size. And I asked specifically if he's seeing more dealers look to aggressively expand their territories these days. And he answers that by saying that if dealers are going to expand successfully, they need to first focus on the existing territories and make sure that they master that. So let's hear from Chris Barron of Goodfellow Corporation.
I think the markets we serve, we need to really focus on doing a fine job of saturating that market with the right salespeople, and then connecting that high level of customer service and support, and that's going to drive growth for us. Really what our focus is today is to do exactly that, is to really focus on supporting those customers in the markets we already have brick and mortar locations and a fine group of salespeople, and connect it with our inside sales staff, our service groups, all the things that we've put together for the last decade to better earn that business and be part of those customers for a long time. Our oldest location is Boulder City. That's been the backbone of this company. It's where all of the lion's share of our manufacturing is done. We have a 20+ acre facility there. There's over 100 employees out of that location. And the whole purpose of that branch was to, be the foundation for building equipment to serve the 4 states that we are present in. Expanding that business is really more about increasing coverage and connecting that coverage with additional support so we can earn the business that already exists in those markets. I can't speak to any future expansion into other states, but I can certainly speak to, future expansion in the existing areas. And like I told you earlier, Parowan, which is just designed to serve the St. George market, is an area where we see large potential for growth. Arizona is probably one of our fastest growing markets. It's one of our newer locations. I'd say, 6 years that the Goodfellow family has owned this location, but we've seen a steady increase in growth here. And a lot of that's connected to the same model that I shared with you earlier, that we're really focused on driving that long-term focus on support and selling the Astec brand, the CDE brand. Those are two of our largest partners in this business. And we feel like we picked the two best partners in this business to help us earn that reputation in these markets to drive business and better support these customers.
Chris, maybe just to tag on to this topic a little bit, but how tough is it, or how much time, how many years does it take to really feel comfortable where you can move into a new market with, whether it's a new facility, looking back, maybe you can share some of your experience, but you talked about having the people, I think having the boots on the ground, that's got to be instrumental to it. And, it's not just one or two people. I mean, there's, I think you said 100 in one case to try to best serve the market. So I guess before a dealer decides to move into a new area, I mean, how important is it that you maintain your service and what you're doing in that current area?
Well, I can speak to the Arizona one because I was a big part of that. I think that when Kurt decided to move into Arizona, he saw the opportunity because he had some exposure over the years with business that the Goodfellow was already doing from the Boulder City location in Southern Nevada, and felt like they could do a better job if they had had a brick and mortar site here with boots on the ground and staff to support it. So, we came in with a pretty lean crew, and over the last 6 years, we've grown it into a facility that has on-site manufacturing and 50 plus employees today to support this market. And obviously it was a good decision to do it, but the biggest component there is the people, recruiting the right people, putting them in the right roles, and letting them do what they do best, which is take care of our customers. So it's been a challenge. The biggest challenge any business has today is finding good people. And we've done, we think, a fantastic job in the sites that we do have, recruiting and retaining those people, but we also invest in them. We send them to training, we educate them, we coach them. We do everything we can to empower them to master our business and really focus on driving that high level of support that differentiates Goodfellow from everybody else.
Chris, maybe just one more question on that topic, and then be happy to move on to some other things. But is there one model? And obviously, you work for Goodfellow. That model seems to be working for you guys in terms of size and scope and just who you guys are, the nature of who you guys are, and how you do business. But do you see one model kind of creeping up in the aggregate industry in terms of one that's trendy, and kind of along the lines of what I was saying earlier, where it used to be, one dealer serves one vendor in one state. It seems like they were getting into some bigger territories for partnerships at this point. Do you see that trend? Not just with you guys, but I guess in your territory in the West, or if you look outside of the West.
Are you talking about who we partner with? Are we having to expand that
No,
partnership so we have more products available? I guess.
I guess I'm just thinking. Yeah, I guess I'm thinking about just the nature of the typical manufacturer dealer partnership now. I mean, it seems like some dealers are representing manufacturers across multiple states, whereas in the past it used to be like maybe more traditional models, like you're the dealer for New York, you're the dealer for Wisconsin, and there were more dealers representing manufacturers. Now I guess it seems like there's fewer, I suppose, in some cases.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I get where you're going with it, but the truth be told is that at Goodfellow, we're 100% Astec. We're really not interested in partnering with anybody else. That those roots run really deep, and our business has flourished through that partnership. It really is a partnership. Where they fall down, we do too, and vice versa. So we openly communicate. We're always looking for ways to help each other, provide feedback to improve products, improve support, be part of that innovation of new products as well. Our most recent addition would be CDE, really because we needed something that was going to address the needs for sand production in the Southwest. It's a big problem throughout this country, but it's a particularly big problem in the Southwest. And with their water recycling capabilities, it really made them a sound partner for us. That's probably the biggest decision that we've made in the last 5 years, to bring on a new vendor. Outside of that, our teams really focus hard on pushing those two products. Our market receives them very well. We really don't see the need to expand beyond that. Not to say that we won't, but today it does us just a fine job. And then with the Goodfellow has a staff of engineers. A lot of the stuff that we build is all designed by our team. Everything is, conveyors, chassis, bin feeders, overlands, everything is designed and built in-house. We don't source any of that stuff out. So we may buy a cone crusher or a screen box from Astec, but 99.9% of the time, it's going to go on a Goodfellow engineered and built chassis, or a Goodfellow engineer designed and built stand, somewhere along those lines. Even overland conveyors, your standard stackable conveyors, any custom conveyor is always going to be designed, engineered, and built by Goodfellow. We do very, very little outsourcing. So that helps us control, one, the design, the quality of the product, and then obviously the delivery of the product.
How did Goodfellow arrive at that point with Astec, where you're doing so much of the chassis work? 99% you're saying in terms of fabricated?
It's quite a bit. Yeah, it's a big part of our business. I would say collectively throughout, we have 3 locations that do manufacturing. Boulder City is our largest. Arizona is runner up, and then third would be Linden with their crew. They have a smaller crew, but they still do manufacturing. They build small conveyors. They build bin feeders, things like that. Arizona does a lot of conveyors. The lion's share of the conveyors are usually built in this location. Some of the smaller chassis are built here. Everything large, stands, big chassis, jaw chassis, cone chassis, screen chassis, all built in Boulder City. We just have enormous capacity and capability there. And that crew does a fine job. They're very experienced. We've got 25-year employees there that just know how to do it. And, we've had a lot of success with that. Like I said, it allows us to satisfy a custom need for a customer, somebody that wants to change a little thing here or there. When you're dealing with the big companies like Astec, they have very standard designs. They don't like to go outside of those. We're very flexible because we do build it in-house. Our engineering team is in-house, so we can make those quick adjustments and still meet a deadline if needed. And our teams are very efficient. So, and our costs are good because of it. We know exactly what it costs us to do that and how long it's going to take us to do it.
It's really 1% of the time would you say you're selling an Astec product, crusher, screen, whatever, out of the box? I mean, it sounds like the market has really shifted toward, wanting some nuances with their equipment. Every site is kind of different in some way. Is that what's driving this? Is really the customer saying, hey, we want this, but it can't be provided from the top of the supply chain. So the dealer, in this case, you guys, Goodfellow, are taking this on.
Well, I think that really that's the reputation of Goodfellow, is custom designs. If we look back to the 60-year history of this business, 40 to 50 of those years, they've been building custom structures, chassis, so on and so forth. So the foundation of this company is built on that high level of customization and working with the customers to meet those needs. We've had a customer in Arizona here just in the last month that came in and said, hey, I want to design a chassis for a screen, but we don't want your cookie cutter design. We want our design. And our engineering team worked with them and we built something specifically for them. And in fact, we learned enough about some of the things that they like that we want to incorporate it in some of our standard designs.
Really?
And that's how we continue to evolve and elevate our products to serve the markets, because everybody gets to benefit from those custom designs. We get to pull all of that experience in from 4 states of end users that have, combined thousands of years of experience and really fine tune and customize some of these designs that they like and share them with the rest of the world for the most part, right? Globally in our markets.
Chris, what's an example or two maybe that a customer is coming to you asking for something done custom?
Oh gosh. We get a lot of requests for stationary screens that are custom designed. They want, blade mills to feed screen boxes and custom feed heights and catwalks and, discharge points, transition points. Everything is custom from there. Chassis, we get a lot of requests for custom chassis, jaws, scalping screen on a jaw plant. We've had a request for cone plant that has a bin feeder on it to feed the cone. We've got a design and process for that right now. We get requests for custom designs constantly. That's the foundation of our business. Is we can, if you guys can dream it up, we can.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly sounds, Chris, like that has separated Goodfellow from typical dealer or dealer X in the market.
Mhm.
Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, it is. It is. We run into. Obviously, we all have competition, right? And they all do some level of customization, and there's a lot of innovation across the board. But one thing stands out with us is that you can sit down with an engineer at Goodfellow and say, hey, I want to do these things, and you'll get exactly what you're asking for. Where I see with some of our competition, you'll get a version of what you're asking for, and we're not gonna put the screws to the end user, charge an exorbitant amount of money for those asks either. If it's just a version of a standard design, we charge a nominal fee. Our goal here is to build a long-term relationship where that channel's open for decades, and we're always in the not in the rearview mirror, but the front, saying, hey, we're going to go to Goodfellow because of their willingness to work with us, give us what we're asking for at a fair price and a reasonable time.
Yeah, I would imagine that translates to repeat sales. I mean, when you're willing to sit down, your engineers work with the customers who got their own design, their own ideas in mind. I mean, if you can execute that the second time, the third time you execute those, I mean, just going to continue to build on itself.
Yeah, we've had a really good run. There's, like I said, a lot of that gets shared with our customers globally in our market. Everybody benefits from those changes. We have constant redesigns, tweaks here and there, even on conveyors, as simple as they are. I think we're on version 5 of a 3660 stackable, believe it or not. And that's a cookie cutter. Everybody sells that conveyor, but our engineers are constantly looking for ways to improve the design, not only from a manufacturing standpoint, but just giving the end user options to upgrade it or add to it down the road.
Chris, what benefit or advantage do you feel like your customization, your willingness to do that work, what does that do for the manufacturer, in this case, Astec? I mean, at the end of the day, it sounds like that's translating into a sale because of this extra added flexibility and work. From your view, what's the Astec point of view on that? I would assume that they like that, but maybe I'm sure they're selling things like stocks too.
There's no tension from what I can see.
Yeah.
We because of the markets we serve, and the Southwest is a growing market. We sell an enormous amount of cone crushers, screen boxes, jaws. We're constantly buying equipment because of. I think it actually helps the partnership, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
We're gaining market share because of that flexibility. We're selling these custom plants because people get what they want. And that translates into more sales on the cones, the screens, the jaws, all of those key pieces of equipment that are part of the equation. Yeah, to me, it goes hand in hand.
You're saying, do you think that some of the intelligence that Goodfellow gathers through the custom fabrication process, does Astec then learn from that and then use that to better its products, further its products? Or maybe
No, we don't really share that information back and forth.
Sure.
Our engineers do work with theirs to get, some designs for the key components, maybe some customization there that will satisfy what we're trying to accomplish. But as far as sharing designs back and forth with, say, an overland or a conveyor or a structure or a chassis, we really don't.
Chris, on the washing side or the wet processing side, now that you brought CDE into the fold with this partnership, I think you announced it at Ag One or around the Ag One show, March, April this year. Would you see Goodfellow taking this same or a similar approach to that? Because those systems, as far as I've always gathered, I mean, they're really custom to a degree too. I mean, yeah, you have certain components that are fixed and being provided by and made by CDE, but it seems like there may be even more nuances to wet processing than there may be general aggregate processing or dry processing.
Yeah, there's the customization factor there is really going to be limited to the conveying portion.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a plant right now that we are installing in Utah for granite construction with CDE. And a lot of the conveyors we designed and built in-house, one, to keep the lead times down, two, just to keep some of the components standard. But the modular systems itself from CDE, we have no intention of changing that. Their products are proven, they're very well made, and they're designed to work together. We'd essentially be reinventing the wheel if we tried to come in and say, hey, we want to customize all these things and put it all on Goodfellow structures, and we're just going to buy your raw components. We really decided just to let their designs stand out and let their products shine where they're designed to. And we'll come in and add some conveyors, structures where we need to. But for the most part, the modular systems will remain unchanged. CD's got a great product and they've got a great reputation in the marketplace. And we're very excited about the partnership.
Bruce, maybe stepping back just a bit too on this topic, custom fabricating equipment for the market. In your markets, is anybody else doing this to the degree that you are? And I guess maybe secondarily, or a second question, do you see other dealers maybe trying to venture into this area to grow their businesses?
Well, we really don't see any other dealers doing this. There's a couple small, maybe regionally, competitors that do it. I know ICM in Utah does some manufacturing. We got Reuter Equipment in Arizona that does some manufacturing. Outside of that, no, we really don't run into anybody that has really taken on the same business model. And truth be told, it takes an enormous amount of resources and expertise to get into that business. It certainly can be done, but the Goodfellow family, they're all engineering brains, and this business was built on their ideas, and it's just evolved from there. And we've been very fortunate to, like I said, retain a large portion of that manufacturing expertise in our Boulder City site. The site in Arizona, we've got some very well-rounded, very seasoned expertise here to build those products as well. And they work directly with manufacturing. So if there's challenges along the way, the engineers are pulled into it, they make adjustments, and then we move forward. But there's constant feedback from production back to engineering, and then engineering back to production. And that system works very well, and it allows us to constantly improve and evolve those products. So to answer your question, yes, it could be done, but I think it would take years and years for someone to really get into it and master it to the level that Goodfellow has.
If I could ask too, maybe just taking even a further step back, thinking about 2024, how is this year going so far? I mean, I guess we're almost halfway done, but how are things in the West at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I would say they're strong. You know, we've seen an enormous amount of requests for CapEx planning. I haven't seen a lot of those turn into orders quite yet, but if I was to say things were looking good, it wouldn't be an exaggeration. You know, our sales are strong. You know, we have a very strong pipeline of opportunity. We have a pretty large sales force. You know, we're pushing 40 salespeople. So, you know, we've got quite a bit of exposure, quite a bit of feedback. But I can tell you that all of the big producers are all looking to expand. They're all looking to either expand into new sites or improve their current sites. You know, we've seen, I'd say since last year, more CapEx requests for planning future expansion than I've ever seen in my career. So I think it's a good sign.
Yeah,
And we're seeing it across the board too. Utah, Nevada, California, and Arizona. It's not limited to just one state. It's across the board.
in some years, maybe one state, two states drive sales, but it's pretty equal across the board, you're saying.
Oh yeah, no, it's unbelievable the amount we're seeing. You know, even California with all the challenges there for permitting and you know, trying to get things through the California hierarchy, there's still an enormous amount of CapEx expansion there too. So, you know, when it comes in, I don't know. I'd expect 25 to be a stronger year than 24, just based on what I'm seeing.
On the supply side, what are you seeing in terms of equipment availability, you know, upstream, from everything?
Everything's improved.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it. That's kind of what I was going to get to, but I didn't want to lead you. But it seems like things are in a much better.
Everything's improved. You know, we've seen our lead times come. I mean, we can, if I order a cone crusher or a screen box today, I can have it in 30 days.
Wow, that's really normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable how much it's improved. I mean, it's across the board too, with parts, with manganese, with belting, you know, the track units, the cones, the jaws, the screens, everything across the board has improved. I think, you know, nationwide, you know, you probably talked to a lot of dealers, but we all have a lot of equipment in stock right now. You know, there's a surplus of equipment in the marketplace because of that. You know, there's a lot of manufacturers that are sitting a lot of inventory because all of the dealers are full of equipment. So it is certainly a good time for the end user to look at purchasing, because a lot of us are motivated.
Well, all right. Well, that again was Chris Barron from Goodfellow. Chris, thanks for joining us, and we appreciated you having Jack out. I guess it was in 2023. Jack, you had the opportunity to visit Goodfellow, right? And I think I was out there in 2020. So always good to work and engage with the people at Goodfellow Corporation.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a cool experience going out there. I got to spend some time with our good buddy Bill Royce with Astec, and he, you know, sort of took me around, introduced me to some of the Goodfellow folks. I know I met Blake Anderson down there. He's a real good dude, and it was a very cool setup they had in the Phoenix area, where, you know, they had some warehouse space for custom fabricating, and they had a bunch of parts on hand to kind of do what they needed to do in that realm. And then they also had sort of a workshop area where they were, you know, repairing, servicing some pieces of equipment. And then they also had, you know, just a bunch of mobile plants out there, which was really cool, seeing, you know, some Astec pieces, some other pieces out there as well, just kind of lined up or in different spots in the yard, and sort of them running through like, oh, well, you know, this is what we're working on with this. We're going to take this, turn it into this, all that fun stuff. So like you said, Kevin, thanks again to Chris for joining us. You know, we always enjoy working with Goodfellow, and excited to see what the future holds from them. If you have gotten, you know, your July issue yet, which by now, middle of the month, sure hope you have, take a look at the cover. Goodfellow's on the cover there. Got a good shot of one of their yards there. So thanks to Goodfellow, thanks to Chris, and here's to many, many more opportunities working together in the future.
Absolutely. We dedicate so much of our July coverage to dealers, we do have additional content in there for you this month. Jack, for example, did a story on a Peckham Industries operation that was engaging in a vendor around drum motors. That's a feature story that you can read in, I think it's our tech section, Jack.
Sir.
So maybe a little bit of a teaser for our readers who haven't yet seen that story.
Yeah. So, as a lot of our listeners and readers probably know, we obviously work together and we do a lot of stuff with Van de Graaff, and, they produce the Grizzly Drive drum motor. And I got the opportunity to, like Kevin said, speak with a Cliff Wiglet. I believe that's how you say his last name. Cliff, forgive me if it's Wieglet or Weiglet. With a last name like Kopanski, you'd think more people would get it right, but I get some butcherings of that one, so I know the pain. Got to speak with Cliff about his Peckham operation out in Pleasant Valley, New York. They recently installed several Grizzly Drive drum motors from Van de Graaff, and he was just singing their praises left and right, talking about the advantages it's providing their operation. Mostly from a maintenance standpoint, how the Grizzly Drive from Van de Graaff is about, in his words, is about twice what a conventional drive would be. But there's a quote that really stuck out to me in talking about sort of justifying that cost. He said, quote, "But just one breakdown of a conventional drive, whether it's a bearing that locks up, a gearbox that fails, or belts that shred off during a production season, pays for the entire cost of a Van de Graaff drive." So the cost really kind of pays for itself in that regard, where, their sort of claim to fame is maintenance free for 80,000 hours. That's sort of what they hang their hat on there. So got to speak with Cliff, got to speak with Van de Graaff's Matt Lepp, a good dude that we work together with a lot. So a really cool case study kind of story, just sort of showcasing how an operator's taking a piece of equipment, implementing it, and really reaping the rewards. So be sure to check that out. And, Kevin, I know obviously July being the dealer issue, like you said, but in some non-dealer news, you had an interesting look talking to CRH and Conwell. What was that story about?
Yeah, I had the opportunity at the Ag 1 show to sit down in the Conwell booth with Marvin Woody, Sean Wiziger, and some representatives from CRH. They've been working together for a number of years, and they've gotten to a point where their relationship is so strong, and CRH has had very good experiences working alongside Conwell, which is a screening equipment manufacturer. And so they kind of solidify their partnership in a way with a formal agreement by which they refer to each other, as preferred partners. So for CRH, that makes Conwell their preferred vendor. So we had Marty Pinder in the booth at Ag 1, and he was talking about just the experience through COVID of sourcing equipment and making sure that you have vendors that you can rely on, kind of like we've talked in the past again, whether it's a dealer or a manufacturer, somebody that you can count on, because at the end of the day, people in our industry, time and time again, they go back to the people that deliver, that they've delivered on time and time again with. So it's really just a success story for both of them, and have a couple pages of our July edition that are dedicated to that relationship, the CRH Conwell dynamic. And CRH obviously is, the largest sand and gravel producer in the country. I think they're the number 3 crushed stone producer. So obviously everybody knows them. They're global. They're huge here in the U.S. and in Canada. So so that's remarkable, really, that you would have, a producer of that size say, hey, this is our preferred vendor on the screening front. So that's a great thing for Conwell, and you can learn more about that story, again, in the July issue of Pit and Quarry. Also from Pit and Quarry, we've got the Pit and Quarry Roundtable and Conference coming up. We teased that previously on Drilling Deeper, but any producers who are interested in applying for the Pit and Quarry Roundtable and Conference can do so at pitandquarryroundtable.com. Our roundtable is going to be in January of 2025. Specifically January 30 and 31 at the Wigwam in Phoenix. And we'd love to have some new producers, see some old faces there on the producer front. And similarly on the vendor side, Jack, we're always looking for suppliers, whether you're a manufacturer or dealer, to join us at the roundtable on the partnership front. It's a little bit of a different deal for our partners, but look for them as well.
Yeah, no, and Kevin mentioned we kind of officially announced this on the podcast last episode. We've had a story up on pitandquarry.com for a little bit, but yeah, just to echo Kevin's sentiments, really looking forward to getting back out to the West Coast. I haven't been to the West Coast for a roundtable in my time on Pit and Quarry. This would be my 4th one, and just always a good event. So definitely check it out, pitandquarryroundtable.com. Look forward to seeing you there.
Well, in terms of what's next for Drilling Deeper, we've got some more dealer content to unload. I guess this is dealer month. Jack, I think you said that offline.
Trademark.
Kind of like that. We did an interview with Matt Dibble and Ian Edwards, those guys being with Dibble Equipment and Major Wire, respectively. So we'll plan to bring that to you in an upcoming episode. And I also had the opportunity to sit down with Gregory Peckham and Damian Murphy of Peckham Industries, and I'm hoping to bring that to you on an upcoming episode of Drilling Deeper as well. So, Jack, any other thoughts, comments this episode?
Yeah, no, just a lot of good stuff going on the dealer front. Excited to be following along a lot of these companies like Kimball, like Goodfellow. Again, you mentioned Dibble Equipment coming up in the next episode. Just a lot of fun stuff going on. Good time to be in the industry, and a good time to be covering the industry, I think. So, as we move forward with Drilling Deeper, as always, just want to encourage you guys and gals listening that, if there's anything you want to hear, anything you think we could be doing better, any suggestions you have, feel free to reach out to Kevin and I, Yanik, Kyanik, at northcoastmedia.net, Jay Kopanski, JKOPANSKI, at northcoastmedia.net. We're always happy to hear from you, and would love to hear what you would like to hear on a future episode.
Thanks again to our show sponsor, TCI Manufacturing. Celebrating 25 years of excellence in 2025, TCI Manufacturing embodies the promise of concepts to reality as the industry's leading aggregate resource. TCI specializes in precision-engineered, custom-fabricated steel products, committed to delivering top quality, strength, and precision in every project. Learn more at tcimfg.com.
Well, that'll do it for episode 19, Jack. For Jack Kopanski, I'm Kevin Yanik. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See ya.